Hey everyone, this is Discjunkie once again, and today I'm actually doing a comparison video. And this is just, I've showed you both the original edition of Se7en from the US, the New Line Platinum series, and I've also shown you the newly released limited edition from Japan, which is also dubbed as the Platinum Edition. But I thought I really wanted to show you these side by side, just to note some minor differences as well as some major ones. First up, the Japanese one has a paper wraparound, or sort of partial wraparound. That's pretty obvious, so I'm gonna move that out of the way. Now, next up, the most notable things about this is the difference in the slipcase. And as you can see, the US version is all matte, it's not embossed or anything, while the Japanese version is very embossed, and it has this slight handwriting in black embossed glossy print. You can check my other video review of this particular edition if you want to see it in detail. Well, we can also compare the back cover. As you can see, once again, the US version all matte printing, and sort of has, a lot of specs listings and stuff, while the Japanese version just has the matte background and the sort of glossy embossed printing over it. But then again, the Japanese version has the wraparound, which has the specs printed on that. So yeah. But anyway, continuing with the comparison, you can look at the spines, which are obviously different. So there we got the US typical logo, and then we got sort of this old style logo, which I think was actually the logo used for the original poster art. I can't be entirely sure, but it is one of those, commonly used logo versions. And I'm going to take a look at the other side. Now, these two are very similar, but there are in fact some slight differences that I didn't really know about. Especially, you got this part here. There's sort of a printed, I don't know, maybe like a staple or something. One might think that this is actually like a damage to the print, but it is actually printed in white, sort of like a staple at the end or something. And this one just has the Humax Gaga logo. It's a company in Japan. But yeah. Now we're gonna open these up, just compare the digipacks. I can actually compare them side by side, because I realized that I have a very simple way of determining which is which. Right, so looking at the front cover, you can notice that the front cover on the American version has the cover, it's hard to see, but the cover art is slightly offset. However, it is exactly the same print. But if you look very closely, you can see that the entire print is slightly offset. You can see that the white sort of label thing here is slightly lower on this one than on the other. But anyway, check the back cover. Would imagine that, yeah, it's the same here. One of them is slightly offset, but it's still based on the same print. Okay, so let's see, we open it up. See if we got anything specific to note here. Well, the overall artwork is pretty much identical. Seems to be based on the same graphics. However, I do notice that first of all, this, which is the Japanese version, if I bring it up close, you can see that it's actually printed in Japanese for all the specs. But I would imagine that, it's the same text, it's just translated. However, if I hold up the two side by side, like this, you can see that first of all, the left side here has the same artwork, but the tone is slightly different. And you can see that the US version is slightly reddish, while the Japanese version is sort of yellow-green. It's sort of a subtle difference, and I didn't really notice it at first glance, but you can tell that it's pretty much the same for the overall design. You get sort of more of a dark reddish stain, and here's more of a red yellowish stain. doesn't look weird at all, just didn't actually notice it. However, it does seem like this is more apparent on the left side as opposed to the right. Seems like this is a lot lighter than that printing. But anyway, also notable here would be that the inner spine is black on the Japanese one, and it's just white on the US version. Left side, can move this flyer out of the way, and from the looks of it, it is basically the same print, but once again, as you can see, we do have sort of hard to compare these, but do my best. Once again, you can see that, you know, there's a slightly different tone. If you look at the blood stains, we got sort of a very reddish pinkish one on the right, and there's a sort of more brown purplish one on the left there. And if you look at the discs, they are sort of thrown in reverse here, but that's actually the way they were put in, which I think is because the Japanese read from right to left as opposed to from left to right. So then it would make sense that they would have the first disc would be on the right and so on. But yeah, you can also check this side. As you can see, pretty much it's an identical print, just has slightly different tone to it. So yeah, I don't think I really have to show you the interior. I can just vouch that it is the same print, just, you know, slightly different tone. So yeah, and obviously, you know, anything that's spec related, like this page for instance right here, which sort of talks about, you know, internet connections and DVD-ROM and stuff, that stuff is obviously printed and translated for the Japanese version, as well as the chapter index on the left here. But I think that's pretty much it as far as comparison goes, and I don't know if anyone's interested in this little comparison, but you know, I've been talking about these two editions, and talking especially about the Japanese version, so I just thought it would be fun to compare the two side by side to, yeah, just make sure that you see all the differences. And I, for one, really wanted to do this myself, just to sort of get a look of what the actual differing parts were. But yeah, that's it. Hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time.